Hi there, welcome to the Fierce Factor podcast. I'm your host, Kaylee Lindholm. And I think it's time for us women to shift the conversation in business and step into our feminine leadership to do the most iconic work the aesthetic industry has ever seen. Each week, I'll be bringing a powerful dose of strategy, sarcasm, solutions, and sass that will rev up your creativity and ignite your brilliance as you link arms with me along our shared path of personal and professional growth in 20 minutes or less. Let's go. Hello, leader. Welcome back to the Fierce Factor podcast. It's Kaylee here, and I just wrapped up our first session of our spring CTS class. And damn, I am fired up. I mean, I'm so inspired by women in this industry who are building and scaling multi-million-dollar life-first businesses and taking courageous leaps to reimagine possibilities in the face of adversity and the ups and downs of entrepreneurship. And we work with women at all levels of business, some just in their first few years, others some 15 to 20 years who are completely reinventing themselves and their models. And when I think of starting over, it sounds on one hand so refreshing and so liberating in many ways. Like if I knew then what I know now, damn, I would be dangerous. But that's totally the point of it all. Business building doesn't ever actually have a destination. At some point, we will know in the future what we don't know now. And I mean, the richness of experience is just such a gift. But I do also know that there is no starting over without growing pains. We just have to grow ourselves into the leader our future business will need, because facing adversity, that is something that will never end. Finding great people will still be hard. Managing them will be necessary. Leading the vision will be critical. Protecting your brand will be paramount. But I like to think that while these obstacles will always arise, if I invest in setting my intention and expanding as a more clear and well-directioned leader, I'll be able to go and revisit these obstacles through a new lens, like a perspective of someone who has evolved and can lean into the same challenges with a new set of tools, experience, and confidence. And as I have the privilege of standing shoulder to shoulder in thought partnership with some of the brightest and most ambitious minds in our space, I'm often reminded how cyclical business and life can be. Like when I first gave birth to Cooper and was cast into the throes of motherhood. It was something I had dreamed of and planned for, kind of. But I could never have prepared myself for the sleepless nights, the physical and emotional demands of a helpless baby, the incessant neediness, the feeling of being never enough or never having it all together. Like I was chasing some ideology in my head of what motherhood should look like. I don't know, I guess more like soft and cuddly, sweet baby eyes gazing at me, cooing, and big gummy smiles, rocking right to sleep and waking up happy and bright-eyed, not the reality of poopy diapers, dirty clothes, and breast pads scattered around the house. Right? So there's a blend, there's a balance there. And isn't it so crazy? Like childbirth and the first phase of newborn development, it's so life-altering that our brain actually blocks this memory out. And at some point, we completely forget about it and then are willing to do it all over again. My sister was recently here visiting from Switzerland with her 6-month-old. Oh my gosh, I don't even know how baby moms do it. It's like running on straight adrenaline. And speaking of adrenaline, I vividly remember back when I first started my business, even back to the day I filed for my DBA at the courthouse. I felt so freaking elated, so optimistic, so energized, and so open-minded about all of the possibilities for the future. And I could not have imagined both the opportunities and also the heartaches that being an entrepreneur would bring. And honestly, I didn't care, And now 7 years later, I look back at that wide-eyed and somewhat naive girl, and I appreciate the fact that she was flat out unflappable. The first year is almost a blur. I've shared some of the stories in the past about the type of clients I took on. I mean, anyone and everyone that was willing to pay me for my services, honestly. I grinded. I didn't have any structure or systems in place because I didn't actually have a business. Well, for several years, I thought I did. But at the end of the day, the operations of the business I was running relied solely on me, and its growth depended upon my willingness to hustle for it. Can you relate? Many of our clients come to us at this exact inflection point where the unrelenting desire for growth begins to feel like now a painstaking uphill pursuit. The very reason they started their business, the quest for freedom, begins to be the very reason they resent it. Why in the world would someone who is, quote unquote, calling the shots allow the way they show up in their life and business to spin out of control? And that is the magical question that breathed life into our Confidence to Scale program. What I found is that growth, it's not at all about the tactics, the how-tos, or the what to offers. It is deeply rooted in the mindset of the leader driving it. Let me explain. So a few years ago, we worked with this amazing client named Susie, but of course, my favorite name. It's actually my mom's name too. Susie runs a 7-figure single location medical spa just outside of Portland. Her business generates about $1.5 million in annual revenue. She's an aesthetic injector. She's a primary provider and also founder and leader of the business. She also has 5 employees supporting her. And when she came to us, she said, quote, "I love what I do, but I'm near burnout with the struggles of training, performing procedures, administrative responsibilities, team building, marketing, financial planning, legal oversight, all of it. The lion's share of responsibility falls on me to ensure that we meet our monthly revenue goal. It is so stressful because I'm never able to turn off the switch." Essentially, her acute responsibility as the primary revenue driver for the business has left her in a position as the most critical asset to service delivery through patient care. The last thing she had time to do was to stop making money to train someone else to make money and then go and convince her patients who come to her for her unique brilliance and results to go ahead and get treated by some freshmen, right? I get it. But here's the challenge. Her dream was to start a business that, and I quote, would be running smoothly, all staff would be confident and efficient in their roles, and would enjoy coming to work. I would be in the office an average of 3 days a week. I will have scaled the business and have a strong cash flow and free time to enjoy life outside of work. And she also talked about her ideal client as being someone who's educated on what treatments they're receiving, understands the expected outcomes, is committed to their treatment plan, remains consistent with their skincare routine, is loyal to our practice, follows pre- and post-procedure instructions, does not have a limited budget, respects my boundaries, plans ahead for their appointments, and respects our time. So this is a beautiful summary of the kind of business that Susie dreamed of. So here lies the predicament. Susie is living in a universe where her desired lifestyle is not at all in alignment with the business she is running. She's dreaming of one kind of reality and she's living in another. And this is not uncommon whatsoever, right? Let's revisit the stages of growth as a human. We were once a little crying, throwing up little baby, and our mother had to mother us in a certain way, coddling, tending to our every need, sacrificing herself, her perky boobs, and her tight stomach. Sorry, Mom. Then we eventually become teenagers. Can you imagine if your mother parented you as a teenager like she did when you were a baby, or even a toddler, or even a middle schooler? If your mom continued that level of coddling, I'm pretty sure you'd have major child trauma and socialization issues. It just doesn't work to parent your kid the same way in every stage of development. Each stage requires a different type of mother. What is required from a mother to help her child thrive in one stage of development can literally strangle them in the next. And this is the same for our business. And look, I've been there too. I have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on coaching to help me level up to a woman who is capable of running a business that has the capacity to scale to the level of success that is meaningful for me. And that investment in myself has afforded me the unshakable frameworks and confidence to know that I'm worthy of hiring the best team who is capable of producing results for my company. I'm knowledgeable enough on the core business milestones that need attention in order to scale sufficiently. And I'm crystal clear on what a thriving life-first business looks like for me. And I'm well-directioned toward that vision. And most importantly, I'm willing to adapt and become resourceful in the face of adversity instead of rushing to fix my problems and not allow myself to feel emptiness or pain in the moment. And this is exactly how we helped Susie pull herself out of that space of feeling buried in her business. Because the reality is most of us talk about what we really want, but we don't actually build toward that. Susie talked about wanting a smoothly running operation, all staff to be confident and efficient in their roles, and for them to enjoy coming to work and to be able to have flexibility in her schedule, to scale the business, to have a strong cash flow, and to have more free time to enjoy outside of work. But what she was building was a business that was so dependent upon her as a primary revenue driver, which meant that no one was focused and committed to making her actual dream business a reality. And I see this all the time. What we really want is a business where we can focus on doing facelifts or comprehensive facial balancing with long-term treatment plans and have a team that we can delegate one-off or less clinically significant services to right off the bat. And ultimately find ourselves with a business which is self-led through our talented providers and managers who are driving our vision forward. But instead of building that business, we tell ourselves that we are ready to advance to the next stage of development, and so we seek out the next best tactic. Oh, I know. How about a loyalty program? Oh, I know. Let's switch EMRs. Oh, I know. Let me sit on Facebook and see what everyone else is paying a practice manager, even though their business is full of drama and headaches, and they generate about $2 million difference in annual revenue than mine. Right? We continue leading our company like it's a newborn instead of the teenager it's becoming. We're trying to feed it baby food when it needs a freaking filet mignon. What we really want is a business that's running smoothly, staff that are competent and confident. They enjoy coming to work. I enjoy coming to work. I get to design a leisurely and pleasure-packed schedule. I will have scaled the business and have revenue streams that self-multiply. I want a strong cash flow. I want free time to enjoy life outside of work without being stressed about the business. I want to get to treat my ideal patient who respects my boundaries, uplifts, and energizes me. And instead of building that business, we keep falling back into our old habits of growing in a way that depletes us instead of moving us in the right direction. Leader, soul-sucking growth is not growth. If what you truly desire is a business that can stand independently and nourish you, it's time to recognize that it needs another fuel source, a leader that is no longer running on adrenaline, but that is deeply committed to slowing down, to reimagine, rebuild, and regenerate her business, and not just say it. If you are feeling like your adrenaline is crashing and you're questioning yourself, it's most likely because you are driving with one foot on the gas pedal and one foot on the brake. Of course you're exhausted. Of course you're overwhelmed. Of course you feel like no one can keep up with you or you're dragging your business behind you. You're running on adrenaline and it's crashing. Come work with us and let us help you design a blueprint for growth that provides you the framework to lead with clarity and conviction and to truly enjoy the business you're building, not resent it. We're already filling our CTS 6-week class for summer, so make sure you get your spot. We kick off in July. You can head to klcconsultants.com/scale to jump in. Okay, goddess, think about what I said today and pay attention this week to what kind of business you're building. I will chat with you, same place, same time, next Monday morning. Wait, before you go, if you're vibing with this conversation and want to join me on my mission to help 1,000 inspiring and intentional women cross the next $1 million milestone in their business this year, or maybe you want to become one of them, head over to Facebook and join our free community, the Fierce Factor Society. Over there, we are taking this conversation to an elevated level. Get access to resource guides, podcast supplements, and guideposts, direct communication with me and my expert team, and of course, a society of fierce women making big moves and disrupting the status quo in aesthetics and wellness. You can link directly through the show notes or head to Facebook and search up the Fierce Factor Society. See you there, goddess.